I'd love to know, when you hear somebody telling you, tell your story, your first thought is, do you have any idea what my story is? It is so big, I have no idea where to start. Put your hand in the air if you think that's you. That's around half of you, that checks out. Which makes me think the other half of you that didn't put your hand up, you're in the camp that thinks when you hear, tell your story, it's not that good. Who wants to hear my story? Is that you if you didn't put your hand up? And that checks out because most of the women, all of the women that come to me within She Speaks Academy will fall into one of those two camps. Your story's too big or your story's not big enough. And now a question I want to ask all of you is, when you hear tell your story, do you think, yeah, that's great, how? Who thinks how? How do I do that? Where do I start? It's a good thing I'm here, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, did I go the wrong way? I did. That's exactly what I'm going to speak with you about today. Because those people are right. Sharing your story is your superpower. Sharing your story is powerful. It can literally change the trajectory of someone else's life. And putting yourself out there and sharing your story is not showing off, it's showing up. Because what that says on the screen right there, visibility isn't vanity, it's responsibility. Put your hand in the air if you want to make impact in this world. You can't do that if nobody knows you exist. And part of that visibility piece, part of that is telling your story. But here's the thing, so many people who are telling you to tell your story don't tell you. There is a right way and there is a wrong way to tell your story. And over the next 60 minutes or so, I'm going to help you do that. So you can tell your story in the most powerful way possible, so you can make the most impact. And I want to tell you my story now. This is my real life Moana moment. In Hawaii in 2017, we were literally on a catamaran sailing over the reef, and my husband said, Nick, you look like Moana, I have to take this photo. So I like to refer to this as my real life Moana moment. Now, we weren't trying to sail over the reef, we were trying to sail over our grief. I was in Hawaii in 2017 on this holiday with my husband to come to terms with, accept the fact that we were never going to have children. I thought this was going to be a little bit of an acceptance holiday of, okay, we've done all the things, because up until that point, we had done all the things. We had drunk all those delicious concoctions naturopaths like to put together for us, taking 45 to 50 capsules with breakfast every day, doing yoga, meditating, de-stressing, all of the things. And just before we left for this trip, one of the top fertility specialists on the Gold Coast sat across from us in his little room, peered over his spectacles, and he said, well, guys, you've got two choices, adoption or IVF. Like we were asked to be choosing between the small latte and the medium-sized, just like that. And then on this trip, I picked up at one of those local book exchanges this book here, Anita Morjani's Dying to Be Me. I'm seeing a few heads nodding, which means a few of you have read it. And it's a beautiful memoir, for those of you that haven't read it, about a woman who grew up with a very strict Indian family. She ended up getting cancer, was knocking on death's doorstep, was riddled with tumours, had a near-death experience, came back to this realm within weeks, not a single trace of cancer. What the doctors would say, a modern medical miracle. And there was a particular part in this book, is it okay if I read a little bit to you, that really stopped me. And it was, she just had her near-death experience and she was watching the nurses administer her chemotherapy drugs. I watched as the nurses came in to administer the chemo. They hung the bag of drugs on the IV stand. Each bag, which they were feeding directly into my veins, was labelled poison in huge red capital letters. The nurses wore masks and latex gloves so that they couldn't accidentally have contact with any of the dangerous chemicals. Strangely, it seemed that it was acceptable for these drugs to be introduced directly into my bloodstream. I knew I didn't need the chemo. Nothing could destroy me, not even poison injected directly into my veins, the very thing I'd feared for so many years.